Talks Tone. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast. Thanks to everybody that's coming and listening to us every Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you that don't know, this is a guitar channel. And on Tuesdays, we just talk about stuff that's on my mind that is mostly guitar related. Sometimes it's not. Most of the time it is. And I like to get your thoughts on it as well. This week, we are going to talk about things that I'm fairly certain your guitar heroes did not teach you, but somehow, as a guitar player, you tend to believe. So I don't know where these things came from. So we're going to talk about that. It's related to some experience that I had this weekend that I want to share with you. Before we get going on any of that stuff, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you like guitar stuff, because that's what we do on this channel. If you hit the subscribe button and the like button, and if you watch this, comment in the chat, comment down below. That is a free and easy thing that you can do to support the channel and spread it to other people, because the more you do that, the more other people watch it. So I appreciate that very much. The other thing you can do is you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. And that is another way you can support the channel. That helps us with reviews and whatnot, because that's what we use that money for. And then also, don't forget DylanTalksTone.com, where you can go and buy pickups. That's what we do. All right, cool. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, let's chat about this stuff. So I went to a show this week. Hi, everybody. By the way, I see a bunch of people in the chat already. Hello, hello, hello. Got a bunch of folks down there. Awesome. Thanks for the thank you pick and sticker. Oh yeah, no problem. So one of the things was, we had some products over the last few months go out without stickers because we were out for a particular time, and we tried to verify as many of those people. It was mostly people with pick guards. So we went through all the loaded pick guard orders for about the last year or so. There was about, 50 or 70 or I don't know. There was a bunch. Anyway, so we sent them all some swag. So that's pretty cool. You will be getting swag in your order from now on, I promise, because that's something that we've kind of upped our game around here. But that's awesome. I'm glad you dig it. Okay, so here's a cool thing that happened this weekend. We went out and saw Kenny Wayne Shepherd at the some theater in Charleston, in Savannah, Georgia. And Allie Venable opened for him. She's amazing. Got to chat with her a little bit after her set. Talk to pickups and stuff. So hopefully that's a conversation that will continue on, because she's a pretty cool cat. Ended up talking to Kenny Wayne Shepherd's manager a little bit after the show, and we knew some of the same people, and we're chatting about some stuff. So that was kind of neat. So yeah, got to make some connections and realize that we had some connections we didn't know we had. So that was pretty awesome. But it's funny. I was watching this show, and probably going to offend some people today, just so you know, because there's some real things that happened at this show, and some real observations. These are not made up. These are real. And because people get on me all the time for saying the reason people think guitar is dying, or because, rock music isn't good anymore, is because young people don't listen or whatever. And I always, my retort to that is no, it's because all you old people are dying. And the audience for rock and roll music is old. What's interesting about it is Allie Venable's 24. She's just a kid, man. She's so good. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, his second record, he's been touring for almost 30 years. Which is interesting because people don't think of him as an older guitar player because he's a younger guy. But his second record that, the one after Blue on Black that he toured on last year, was 25 years old last year. So he's been around a long time too. The audience at this show was, let's just say, they were all getting 10% off at Hardee's on their coffee. And they were all taking some Centrum Silver, and they were getting some AARP magazines in the mail. All of them. Everybody. There was no young people there. It was all old people. All old people. And what's interesting is the majority of them, you hear people talking in the crowd, right? Constantly complaining about how terrible music is. And then talking about I saw Bob Dylan last year and he sucked. I'm like, the dude's like 1 million years old. Of course he sucks. He couldn't sing when he could sing. Not true. I actually love Bob Dylan. I'm named after him. But he still sucks. He's worn out. He needs to just stop touring. All these old people just need to stop touring. And it made me realize I need to continue to start seeing more younger artists. I need to look for and see more younger artists, because going and seeing all these Guitar Hero guys is just like, oh my God, it's like a senior citizen convention. I could not believe it. And that's the second week in a row that we've gone to an event. And it was just like, I was like, I need to reach younger. Holy crap. This is crazy. I want to go see like Machine Gun Kelly and Britney Spears and go see some people that actually can go up some stairs. And I know that some of you are going to find that generalization offensive, but it was true. Literally, it was the truth. Like, you look around that room and you're just like, I cannot believe it. It smells like mothballs in here. And the reason I was annoyed by it is because the folks that were in there were complaining about any music that wasn't Guitar God stuff. Which leads me to the title of today, because as I'm listening to all of this, and as I'm listening to old men literally yell at clouds, I'm listening and I'm like, this stuff is so good. Kenny Wayne Shepherd is one of the best guitar players ever to live. I would say, and you can, I don't care if you agree or not. And if you feel differently, I don't care. It's fine. This is coming from someone who, I have very close ties to Stevie Ray Vaughan. I don't want to get into the details right now, but I do. And he's my hero, guitar player wise. I think Kenny Wayne Shepherd is just as good as Stevie Ray Vaughan. Full stop. He is not as legendary because of the way he hasn't died yet, and the way he didn't die in a helicopter crash so far. And Stevie Ray Vaughan lived in a different time, and he was a drug addict, and he had all the reasons to become people that people idolized as a classic rock, icon and all that. But Kenny Wayne Shepherd is just as good. He's a monster. He is a monster guitar player. Absolutely monster guitar player. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking like he played a Les Paul for the first 2 songs, which I've never seen him play, which was pretty cool. And I'm thinking, nobody in this audience right now cares about the headstock angle, or nobody's worried that the headstock's going to pop off this Les Paul. Nobody's worried what year. Well, there may be some nerdos that are worried about what year it is, who are nerding out more about the guitar than actually listening to the music. Nobody cared what kind of finish was on his Strats. Nobody cared. Nobody knew, probably from our perspective, what overdrive pedals he was using, or what cable, or he wasn't using a wireless. So what guitar cable was he using? All of these things that people completely nerd out about, we did not learn from our guitar heroes, because 99% of them don't care. They don't care enough to make a huge deal out of it. And of course, Kenny Wayne Shepherd's a gear nerd. He loves dumbbells and all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's super cool. But the bottom line is, when you're there enjoying the music for the purpose of enjoying the music, you don't care about any of that stuff. Not one time did I go, I wish he would have brought one of his regular Dumbles instead of these Fender modded Dumbles. I really came to hear a real Dumble. Like, I didn't think that one time. I didn't think anything about any kind of his guitar setup, or I wish he should really play an Ash guitar for this song instead of an Alder one because resonance, bro. Like, none of that stuff. None of it. None of that stuff mattered. And it was so cool. I did talk to Allie about needing quieter pickups because she had some really noisy single coils, and when she used a flanger, it got really noisy and you could really hear it. So we talked about some of that and how to quiet her guitar down. So that was like a technical thing that kind of, even Leslie was like, man, I really hate that. She's like, I know the Leslie is named after me, but I can't stand that thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, this one's particularly bad because it's really noisy because I think her pickups are noisy. So there were a couple distracting things with her setup, but the guys behind me were like, man, I wish I could go back there and tell that sound guy how to do his job. I'm like, shut up, old man. Good grief. Just sit here and listen and enjoy it. Like, stop nerding and enjoy it. That being said, it's the first really good show that I've been to since COVID, and it was amazing to sit there and listen to him play. And again, my connection with Stevie Ray and his guitars and etc. Chris Whipper-Layton was his drummer. So being in the same room with somebody that personally knew Stevie Ray Vaughan. Then, of course, I'm talking to his manager afterwards. I'm talking to Kenny Wayne Shepherd's manager afterwards. And she's like, yeah. We were talking about Jimmy Vaughan's guitar. We were talking about Stevie Ray's guitar and some stuff afterwards, some stuff I knew about and we were talking about. And she's like, oh, yeah, my cousin, is it my cousin or my niece or my sister? Some very close relation to her. Married Jimmy Vaughan. He's like, yeah, I was at his wedding, and she used to manage Double Trouble. Like, so just the world got really small, and it was just really cool to be in that room with those people and experience that. And at no time did I even care, what guitar he was playing or where, any of that stuff. It was really, really cool. I just don't think we learn any of that stuff from our guitar heroes. I don't think it's we like it because we like it. But, and here's the reason I bring this up. Because all during the show, if you guys follow me on Facebook, on our Dylan Talks Tone Facebook page, and the reason I'm bringing this up is to make a point. Let's see. So I posted, I really wish he would play a maple fretboard. It's so dark, I can't even see. I totally would have gone with Ash for this song. I never saw his Should I Change My Pickguard to Tort post. I don't know if I can get behind this. I don't know. That's not a vintage Fender and the peg head is on backwards. His tone is pretty good, but I don't think his toner is true bypass. I was saying those things because they're funny, because it's a joke and like we were just laughing about it on Facebook. But if we don't say it about our guitar heroes, why do we say it to each other? Because that's what guitar group life is. And it made me really think about that. Like, why do we do that to each other? And then I have to go in the comments on a YouTube video and be like, oh my gosh, these people are annoying with all this hate for each other and hate for guitar gear and hate for somebody else's guitar gear. I don't know. It was a real reality check for me going to my first show in a long time and realizing what was really important to me was the music. I don't care about any of the other stuff. It was just a really fun thing to do, because normally even I years ago would go and sit and be like, try to figure out what was on his pedal board and like listen to the song and be like, oh, I think he's using this flanger right now. I think he's using this, and really break down. I could tell when he had a pog on at one point, because that's a super, and of course it's when he's using his wah. You could kind of tell that stuff, but I wasn't like listening like, has he changed from 10s to 9s? I'm not really sure. Like all that kind of stuff. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I really felt good to just sit there and listen to some other people, not everybody, but some other people around me do that and go, I don't even care about any of that stuff. I just want to listen to this music. It was so fun. So I hope that you can go to your next gig and do that. And don't peep their pedal board and don't worry about gear. And the next time you post in a Facebook group or whatever, just enjoy your own sound. Don't worry about everybody else's gear and complain about what they have or don't have or what's wrong with their tone wood. I don't know. It's a little ranty, I know, but it was really cool. And I'm super, super stoked. Hang on, let me go through here. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I have not been looking at this, so I am going to go through here and see if anybody, hello. If we have any questions, you can also use a super chat. I'll drop what I'm doing and we'll answer that one right away. Let's see. I'm surprised none of you know who it shows. That's interesting because Kenny Wayne Shepherd has been a guitar hero for a very, very long time. What's up, Tone Talkers? Dude, you just gave me a freaking idea for a shirt. I'm writing this down. Wrote it down. You just gave me a great idea for a shirt. I like it. Yeah, there's a bunch of mail coming out, you guys. You guys are going to be getting a bunch of stuff. We have a lot of... I shipped a bunch of orders today. Yeah, man. Ooh, you saw The Cure. That's sweet. That's very cool. What's AARP? Mothballs are underrated. You guys are awesome. This is great stuff. I also think everybody puts not everybody, but a lot of people put the technical composition around the music ahead of a lot of people. At least musicians do. It's like weird. It's like musician specific. Normal people don't go to a concert. And break all that stuff down. They don't. That's why when somebody plays like one note over and over again on a bend, the crowd goes crazy, even though it's the dumbest thing you can do. Like, not dumbest. It sounds amazing, but you know what I mean? It's not technically amazing. If you just hold a note and go and hold it, but everybody loves that. And everybody screams and you put your foot up on the monitor and everybody thinks it's amazing, but you're only playing one note a bunch of times with your picking hand and it's not technically awesome, but that's how you know those people don't know and don't care. They just are there for the feeling. And I feel like musicians don't do that enough. And I wish they did. And I know that we didn't learn it from our guitar heroes. Everybody, and the reason I'm going back to that is because everybody thinks, that they're emulating their guitar heroes, but all of that guitar nerdery didn't come from them. Those people just want to make music. And if you interview or listen to interviews of most guitar players, they don't care about any of that stuff. There's a lot of them who don't know what strings they use because they're there to create. And we as guitar players on our level are emulating a lot of times. And so that's why we get lost in emulating somebody else and not creating. And I think it's just an interesting concept. If memories were all I played, I'd rather drive a truck. I love that. I saw Kenny Wayne Shepherd open for BB King, actually. In Sedona, Arizona. I don't think BB King was in his 80s yet. I want to say he was in his early to mid 70s. This was probably, well, it has to be 20 years ago now. I don't remember. It's got to be 20 years ago that I saw BB King open for, or Kenny Wayne Shepherd open for BB King. And then I saw Kenny Wayne Shepherd another time and Johnny Lang open for him. And Johnny Lang's really good too. That was really, really fun. I will say, hearing a couple of Dumbles at Full Chat is pretty awesome. If you want to get guitar nerdy for a second. I didn't overthink it. I didn't be like, oh, this is amazing. They just sounded like loud amps, but they sounded great. The stuff sounded great. I don't know if it was mixed perfectly or maybe it was where we were sitting. It was in an old theater, so it was really, really cool. But it was great. It was super fun. I actually bought one of those. Well, Leslie got it for me. The little miniature Stratocaster. It's like a replica of his 61 Stratocaster, and he signed it and stuff, and it just comes on a little guitar stand. Sort of like the little Eddie Van Halen ones you see, but it's a Kenny Wayne Shepherd one. So that was pretty cool. So I got that thing. I was pretty excited about that. And yeah, so we had a pretty good weekend. We saw that, went to Savannah, Georgia to do that. And we did something else in Savannah too. What else did we do in Savannah? I don't even remember. We just had a nice weekend. I'm pissed that I never got to see BB King live. Yeah. By the time I saw him, he was already like sitting down to play, like he wasn't standing anymore. He was, he was pretty old, but he was really good still. It's interesting. Like, he was a great guitar player, but his energy was so different. Like, he wasn't like this. For me, BB King was more about his touch than about his overall skill and his phrasing. His phrasing was really good. He wasn't like some kind of like, oh my God, this guy is a guitar playing god. I never thought that. But there's something about his touch, how he moved on the strings. I swear it's because he used light strings. I think these people that use light strings have a thing. Him and Billy Gibbons both have a way they move across the fretboard where their hand just looks like it's just kind of just hovering across the fretboard. And I've always thought that was so cool when you watch that, when it's like their hands just move across the fretboard and it just goes and all these notes come out. You know what I mean? Less so with Billy Gibbons because he's more of a rhythm player, but he's still, I don't know. It's like his hand just hovers on the fretboard. And I almost wonder sometimes if it's because of those super light strings. Like, they just have this touch about him and a feel more than, to me, BB King and Billy Gibbons are kind of in the same department with that they're not like these amazing guitar gods to me, but they invoke a feeling when I listen to their music that I don't get from other people. And it's the phrasing and it's their touch on the guitar. For me, that's the two things that move me in a different way musically than, Stevie Ray Vaughan or Kenny Wayne Shepherd or any of the other, crazier guitar players. Yeah, I don't know, but it was really fun. It was just a really fun time. Now I want to go again. Like, I'm ready to go to more shows. Yeah, they definitely aren't heavy-handed. That, you're right. It is you know what I'm saying, right? It's like their hands just float around and the notes just kind of fall out of the guitar. but I don't know. That's just something I really, really appreciate. You never got to go see Howlin' Wolf. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, that was my little rant. Be nice to people in the comments, and take some young people to some shows. And if you're old, go to see some younger people. There are really good artists out there. Music is not dying, but the fans, Kenny Wayne Shepherd's fans, are all going to be dead in 10 years. 15 tops. So we got to get him some new ones. I'm going to see Samantha Fish at Sweetwater. Do you think it will be a senior citizen fest there? Probably not, because Sweetwater's good at marketing that stuff. But there's going to be a bunch of old dudes, yeah. Yep. That kind of music is going to bring them out. And I know there's a bunch of you here right now, so I don't even mean to be offensive about that. I want people to understand when we are talking about worrying and trying to get people to listen to music that is not just this traditional music. Like, it's for a reason. I'm not just saying it. Like, I'm going and experiencing it. Kenny Wayne Shepherd's fans are going to be dead in 15 years unless we find him some new ones. Or he's going to have to market differently to younger people. He's going to have to go on tour with Machine Gun Kelly or somebody. Like, it's the cross genre stuff is going to have to happen more. Maybe with some contemporary country stuff, maybe with some hip hop stuff, maybe with some R&B stuff like that. Those kind of crossovers are going to have to happen in order for the audience to continue to grow in a direction that's not dying off. It has to happen. Otherwise, it's just going to happen. McPherson sells 10 to 46 flat one strings. That's interesting. I'm not a big Samantha Fish fan because I'm not a I don't know. I won't, to tell you the truth, I would rather go see, well, just about anybody than Samantha Fish. I think just because I'm tired of that music. I think I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for music to be different. I don't care to go listen to another artist that does the same thing as some other blues artists. I know people that would go from that Kenny Wayne Shepherd show to a Johnny Lang show to a Samantha Fish show to the next one. And I'm just like, man, I'm done. Like, I want to go hear something else. I want to go hear some other kind of music. I love guitars just as much as everybody else. And I grew up on that stuff, but I think I'm just ready for something else. And I don't necessarily know what that is until I hear it. But I'm open to hearing something other than bajillions of notes played on a Stratocaster through a Fender or a Marshall. I just don't care. I'd like to go see Foo Fighters. I'd like to go see... I'm just not going to line up for the next blues show next week. It's just not going to be in my wheelhouse. I'd really like to go see some more country stuff because those guitar players are always so good. I'd like to go see some more country music. I would like to go see some more hip hop stuff that crosses over, with real instruments. We went and saw Justin Timberlake once. I'd love to go see Justin Timberlake again. I heard Madonna is touring, which would be really cool. Because a lot of times they have full-on bands. They'll have like full-on bands in an orchestra pit. Like when we went to see, when we went to see Justin Timberlake, there was like 35 musicians on the stage, and then below the stage in an orchestra pit. So all the music was very real, and it was huge, and it was amazingly talented. group of individuals. It was really, really cool. So those are the kinds of things that I would love to go see. Big productions like that, where they're making huge music, outside of the traditional, 3-piece or 4-piece blues band. I'm just kind of, I don't know. This is what I do for work, so I don't necessarily need to listen to it 10 million hours out of the month. Oh, Post Malone, I would 100% go see Post Malone right now. If I had tickets to go see Post Malone right now, or if I had a hookup for tickets, I would 100% go see him right now. Yes, abso-positively. Brad Paisley is another one. Your family says hi from Mount Shasta. Hey, what's up, Jack? Oh, are you out there visiting? Oh, that's cool. Yeah. All of the modeling, sampling, and AI-driven music, which is purely digital, is the future, and we are nearly there. I 100% disagree with you, Dan from New Jersey. First of all, let's parse this out, shall we? This is an interesting topic to talk about. This is something that I've been thinking about. And I don't care, Burl Investments, if you think Post Malone is terrible. You're entitled to that opinion, but I love him. I think he's awesome. Okay, so let's chat about this. We're going to parse this modeling, sampling, and AI-driven music. So, because there's a lot in that sentence, and there's a lot for people to misconstrue there and misunderstand. So, the modeling stuff, all that is a way to amplify. It's a different kind of amplifier, okay? So you still have a guitar player there who is able to do things that you can't do with a regular amp with 12 pounds. So it's not any more digital than you using a digital delay. You're busting up your signal and you're putting it back into analog signal, just like the guy who's using a modeler is. I know that's not 100% one-to-one, but for sake of this conversation and making sure that we understand what we're talking about here, it is. Sampling. Sampling is still real instruments. Somebody plays those instruments, then they record them, and then they use them in a song. So somebody played those instruments. Sampling is a very cool thing. I would actually love to contribute guitar samples to hip hop records. I would love to do that. Somebody still has to have good tone. They still have to have a good guitar setup. They still have to have all the things and play the guitar in a recording studio. And then the producer has to be able to use that properly in a piece of music. And then that artist still gets paid for that sample. So he's still doing everything that a regular guitar player would do, a regular studio musician would do. He's just selling his guitar part, a smaller piece, to be used in a different way, but he's still playing the instrument, or it could be a keyboard or a drummer or a guitar player or any other instrument, still going to a studio, play it, record it, and then that gets used in some hip hop song somewhere, and he gets paid. I think that's really, really cool. It's a different way of doing it, but it is a way of doing it. And it is still real music. It is still a real musician. It scales differently and it's used differently in the song. But then here's the other thing about sampling a lot of times is when they play them live, these songs live, they will actually have real musicians play those parts that you hear on the record. For example, when we went to see Justin Timberlake, if you were to go to see somebody like Run DMC right now, they were just at Madison Square Garden, and I know their guitar. I know Daryl's guitar player is a friend of mine, and he played my pickups in a Gibson Firebird through a Morgan. Not a Morgan amp. I can't remember. Anyway, through a regular amp, and he played it on stage live. So in those live situations, sampling still is live music depending on how it's produced. Okay. So we don't want to get that mixed up either. And we need to give the people, and the reason I'm kind of sensitive to this is because this is what I'm talking about. Where old men yell at clouds talking about how music is changing and everything sucks. But really, they don't understand how music is made in 2023 and start to realize that the direction of how it's made, how it's distributed has changed, but there are still very talented people that are making it happen. And I think it's very important to not take away from all of the people that are still very talented and making music. It really bothers me to disrespect people who have put lots of time and effort into music that is popular, even if the classic rock mullet heads don't like it. It doesn't matter because there's millions of people out there that do. We don't want to take, I personally, you can think what you want, it's totally fine. But I personally don't want to take away from the work and time and learning and everything about how to do things in a new way in 2023. I think it's really important to respect those people and their talents. When it comes to AI, AI is an interesting one because you're still going to need people to play instruments. There still is going to be. So I was just actually listening to a podcast about this right today. The Writers Union it's the Writers Guild, what Screenwriters Guild, I guess, whatever it's called. Anyway, is on strike right now, and it's all about wages and union wages and stuff like that. But one of the things they're talking about is AI, because the way screenwriters, I don't totally understand how this works, but the way I understand it is on the first pass, they get paid. So they write a script, right? And they get paid X amount of dollars. Well, when they have to go back and rewrite it or make edits to it, they make way less money. And then when they do it again, they make even less money. So, the person who writes the script in the first place gets the most money. Well, what they're figuring out is what they're worried about and what they're trying to understand in the contracts and stuff is if you have an AI write a crappy script, that takes all that money off the table. And then the people just get paid the money after it to fix up a crappy script that AI wrote. So there's real issues. I 100% agree. However, the humans are never going to be out of creative endeavors. There's no way, because it's not creation anymore. Because the way AI works is AI says, for example, if you say, or if I go right now and I go on ChatGPT and I say, give me a chord progression similar to Kenny Wayne Shepherd's song. I'm stealing Kenny Wayne. I'm not stealing. Well, kind of am. And this is what they need to get to the bottom of is who owns the original IP. How do they handle all that? Because if I say, write me a song like Kenny Wayne Shepherd's, Blue on Black or whatever, it's going to come back with something very similar to it. I didn't write that song. So you're gonna understand the quality of the music is still gonna be reflected in the amount of original creativity that is there. Going from something that does not exist to something that does exist is much more difficult than going from something that does exist and modifying it into something else. So if you're taking something that does not exist, to the extent possible, because as we know, there's only so many chords, but you take a song that doesn't exist and you create it from nothing, that difficulty is far higher than taking something that sort of does exist and say, write me something similar to that. That original from zero is always going to have to be human. It's always going to have to be human because the way AI works is it's drawing on stuff that already exists. All AI is doing is searching history and compiling information based on history. That's all it's doing. So it's not coming from zero. So we still need to create from zero. So I'm worried about it in the sense that I hope we figure out how to manage it, but I'm not worried about it like completely getting rid of people's jobs. Now, graphic designers and stuff, they have more to worry about because that stuff can be done without humans now. But I think there are certain creative endeavors that do not are not in danger. And I also think that as AI becomes more of a thing, we as human beings are going to value human created things more. Sort of like my pickups cost more than, you know, some Artec stuff made in Korea. But that's because you know where it comes from. You know, the love and the time and the handmadeness that comes into it, and the people that value that will pay the money. I think as we get further on into AI, you're going to like Google, is this song really written by a person? And if they say no, you're going to dismiss it and go look for somebody else, or not all the time, but you're going to go and still appreciate somebody else that has created it from zero. I think there will always be an appreciation by the people that value it. There will always be an audience for people that value the stuff that came from zero and didn't come from AI. I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to value AI for the way it makes my life easier. But then I'm also always going to go and look for, you know, the handmade real human thing too. I think that's going to always be a thing. For me anyway. And I don't know about you. You might feel differently about it, but that's kind of where my brain goes with it. You know, it's like this pickup stuff, like knives, you know, like it is this knife stuff that I'm into. Like production knives are cool. I've got a bunch of them, but I also have some like handmade stuff I know one guy made it, and that's really cool. And I really value that. And do I pay more for it? Yeah, but I do value it, and I'm glad that it exists. And I wouldn't want a world where it didn't exist. So I'm going to continue to support it so that it continues to exist. So hopefully you all will buy my pickups and I will continue to exist. You know, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's pretty cool. Art is hard. Yep. Ooh, this is a really good point too. Art is hard. To appreciate it, thanks, Rusty, you need to see a lot of it. You can't really say, I don't like this or that, and never see it, unless your intention is to live in a made-up world with no taste. This is another interesting thing because I feel like this is what guitar players do. They narrow down what they think they like. I can only play this fretboard radius. I can only have this color guitar. I'm a Fender guy. I'm a Marshall guy. I'm a whatever. And they limit the possibilities of what can be possible. When you just eliminate all the limits, then anything is possible and you can try anything. And it's fun to try anything. It's fun to try stuff that you haven't tried before. But there's why guys and there's why not guys. I'm a why not guy. You should know that by now if you follow my channel for this long. I'm a why not guy. I'm not going to be like, well, why would you do that? Let's see what happens. Does it blow up? Does it like break in half? Or does it work? I don't know. Okay, let's try it. Like that's how I roll. I've always been like that. Yeah, super fun. The more open-minded you are, the more you enjoy art. You know, Rob, for me, I think it's the open-mindedness for me has to do with trying to understand the intention of the artist. So that's why I can go and listen to any kind of music. I can go and listen to a new hip-hop record right now. I could go listen to a new metal record right now. I could go listen to some new pop song made by the newest boy band that I've never heard of before, and understand the intention of the artist. New Taylor Swift song, and be like, what were they trying to do here? Even if I don't like it, even if I don't totally identify with it, look at the human being that made the thing and be like, what were they trying to do? Did they miss? Yeah, they kind of missed in my opinion, but I get it. And then what a lot of times what I'll do, this happens for me going to like an open mic night, for example. You can go to an open mic night. Well, let's use that for an example. You go to an open mic night and somebody could totally suck. Like totally suck. But then you go, okay, how many times have they done it? Oh, this is only their second time ever playing in front of anybody. And they wrote that song. And then you go and talk to them afterwards and you're like, wow, they really put a lot of work into this, even though it sucks. And you're like, huh, they're like really dedicated to this. 6 months later, you go back and listen again and they're amazing. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just pretty good. 2 years later, I've seen it many, many times. I used to frequent open mic nights every week. I can think of people off the top of my head right now. I got this friend of mine, his name is Ezra. He was terrified, like sucked. Now, he has in the last 2 or 3 years completely developed into this super unique, really cool voice. He's not that great of a guitar player, but he writes all his own music, and he plays little coffee shop gigs and stuff now. He like developed into a person that does this thing, and it's, you may not like it. A lot of you in the comments probably wouldn't like it. I think it's really neat, but it's because I know the story and I identified with the intention of the artist. And so a lot of times, if it's a style of music that I don't like, if it's a piece of art that I don't like, a lot of times I'll try to find the intention of the artist so that I don't, because again, I don't feel like it's a good thing for me anyway to discount the work and the time and the dedication that somebody put into something just because I don't like it. It doesn't make sense. You know. And I might sound pretty harsh on stuff around here sometimes because I am. But that's just because I just say what I say and I don't really care. Like I'm just going to tell you what I think about it. But the bottom line is, you also don't want to take away from people that put the effort into something, because they did it, because they did a thing. And when it really comes down to it, how many people actually go and do a thing versus how many people just complain about it on the internet? So the person that actually got up and did the thing, even if it kind of sucks, or even if I don't like it, got to give them credit. You know what I mean? What's up, Hat Mike? I've got some of my early open mic videos. I really wish they didn't exist. Dude, that's totally true, man. I totally get it. I actually just posted one of my first gigs with my band like 8 years ago or something the other night on Facebook. And I was like, I don't really even want to post this, but I did it anyway. Because it was like, yeah, everything's a journey, you know? Yeah. I love that shirt. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's a good thing to think about. And everything's a journey too. Everything is a journey for everybody. Everything is, just because it's on the radio. I think about this too. Just because you see something on YouTube or something on Instagram, and that's the other thing. More people can try things sooner now. So it used to be that there were all these gatekeepers where it was like, if you kind of sucked, you didn't go anywhere. Nobody ever heard of you. But now you can get on Instagram and you can kind of suck. You can get on TikTok and you can kind of suck. And you can use that as your open mic. And you can, God forbid, use the comment section as a place to grow. I wouldn't do that, but and you can continue to grow with an actual audience where people couldn't do that before. So I think it's really cool. I love where we are right now. I'm super optimistic about it. I think it's really neat. Yep. I think it's really, really cool. Your mom puts them up on Time Hop. What if complaining is your way of artistic expression? Then you're probably not going to be very popular, to be honest. Or TBH, because it's 2023. Got to stick with that. Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to think about. Yeah, you just got to go out there and do it. But remember that when you're commenting about somebody else's stuff on the internet. I mean, and have a freaking sense of humor. You all might not realize this because it's hard to put into a video. But those of you that have hung out with me in person know that I take none of this seriously. I don't care about any of it. I love guitar stuff, but I don't take any of it seriously. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Do you believe in tone wood?" I will make a joke out of it. When somebody comes up and asks me, or challenges me about something, or we will have a conversation, I'll go to, one of these classes at Texas Toast, and somebody will come up to me and ask me about something that maybe they don't know me very well, and they'll ask me something about that I totally disagree with, and I'll just talk to them about it. I don't care. I don't take any of it seriously. Like, when I say that, I don't mean that I turn everything you say into a joke. I don't mean that. I mean, I don't take any of this seriously enough to make waves with other human beings about it, because none of it's that important. One of the things that I realized a long time ago, actually, this was when I was in the dirt bike industry, is I realized that I like to do things that make people have fun. My contribution to society is this. You have a job. You got to get up and go work that job every day, right? And you only have, and you've heard me say this many times, that, you only have so many dollars you can spend on your hobby. You only have so much time you can spend on your hobby. So I'm going to make sure that the time that you spend and the money that you spend is well spent, and so that you can have a smile on your face. And so if you order a set of pickups from me and you put it in your guitar and you smile about it, and you hit that first chord and you grin, and then you make an Instagram post about it and share it, and whatever. That's all I care. I just want you to smile and enjoy that limited time and that limited budget that you have with your hobby. I love doing that for people. That is all I care. That's all I care. It's the funnest thing to me. So when we get into these conversations about all this stuff, and people take things very, very seriously, almost to the point of religious. You didn't learn that from your guitar hero. You learned that from some sort of insecurity or something. I don't know. There's some kind of psychological. What I need to do is I need to have a shrink on my podcast. Be like, why are guitar players like this? That would be an awesome episode. That would be an awesome episode. I wonder who I could get for that. If you know anybody that would be qualified to speak on that, please send me a message. Maybe one of you is, and I don't know what you do for a living. It's funny how similar this is to car culture. My motor sounds better and is faster. Here's the problem, is most other hobbies, it's quantifiable. If I'm faster than you, I'm faster than you. The tree don't lie. Like, if I get down the drag strip faster than you, or if I get around the autocross lap faster than you, or if I'm a better driver than you, the clock doesn't lie. Like, that's empirical. You can prove that. If I shoot a pistol better than you, or you shoot a pistol better than me, that's very easy. We can prove those things, because my group will be low end right and yours will be right in the middle, because I'm still trying to work on this, everybody's learning. So that's what I'm saying, though. Those things are quantifiable. In the music space, it's not so, because everything is so subjective, which is really fun. To me, that's what makes it so fun, is everything's so subjective. So many other hobbies, it's totally quantifiable. Like, you can Yeah, I can. If I beat you around the autocross lap, I'm faster than you. I mean, I don't need to brag about it, like, because you'll probably beat me the next time. But I'm just saying that those are different. Those are different ways to think about it. Engine rebuilds every pass. Yeah, Jordan Peterson might not be the exact same guy that we want for that. He would have an opinion for sure. I just don't know how well it would go over with. Let's see. Playing to an audience is so exhilarating, and I don't do it often, but I thoroughly enjoy it when I do. Yeah, I make mistakes, but we're all there to have fun. Yeah. And you know what's funny? All the professionals do too. They all make mistakes. They have clunker notes. They miss notes. They screw up a timing on a timing change. They do stuff like that. You know, obviously less so the more they tour and the more they practice, but they still do. Even on like a average night. You know what I mean? I don't think it's unique to the guitar world. I think it gets weird when some irreducible and necessary number of people are really nerdy about something that literally every person is into. Yes. It's true. It's true. That's why I'm trying to back off the nerdy stuff and have more fun. And go into a live show. Somebody said earlier, like, take in more art, you know? And I think that's on my list now. Now that I kind of have the bug again. We used to go when Leslie and I first got married like 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago. We went to a show every month. That was what we did for probably 3 or 4 years. We went to a show every month. And I don't mean like a local bar show. I mean like Pearl Jam this month, Bon Jovi the next month, Soundgarden the next month, Maroon 5 the next month. I mean like big shows. We would go 2, 3, 4 hours every month. We would go to a big show every month. And it was really good. Of course it gets expensive, you know, but so it's not totally sustainable for a real long time, but it was really good for the feeding the art. And it was when this, 10 years ago is when we were just getting going with all this. And so it was really good to just be inspired all the time. And of course, COVID happened a couple years ago and we lived on the road and we went to some stuff, but we didn't get to see, then COVID happened. You didn't go to anything. And so I don't know why. I just haven't gotten back around to going again. And I've been to probably 400 shows, or I don't know. Name the person I've probably seen him live, either for work or for fun. So I've also kind of narrowed down my list of who I want to go see from now on. So anyway, well, you guys, this has been fun. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to make a bunch of pickups tomorrow. We got a live stream coming on Thursday. And we also, I'm going to try to put out another video on Friday because I keep saying that, but I'm going to try to do it because I've got this Sonic Telecaster that I want to do something with. So that's that. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow or Thursday.